Materia Ture.
Thank you very much, Mr Chair. I too just want to address the vote, Prime Minister and Cabinet. Given that the Prime Minister and Cabinet last week made a decision not to mine in Schedule 4 lands, and Sir, if you look at some of the other votes that we'll be debating today, there's the vote around the advice on the management of the Crown Mineral Estate, and I have to say, Sir, it's a great relief that the Crown Mineral Estate will not now include the areas that are protected from mining under Schedule 4 of the Crown Minerals Act. And although it's certainly true that we have many battles ahead to protect our conservation estate for conservation purposes, as opposed to exploitation and degradation by the Prime Minister and Cabinet's decisions, we must make the time to celebrate this victory for common sense. So we're a very small country, fully dependent on our environment for our economic needs. And the Green Movement, alongside Hapu, are right at the forefront of protecting the intrinsic value of our land and therefore our long-term economic welfare. Just last week, the voice of common sense won over the short-term political expediency. It was the only real choice, because if you love something, the only rational response is to stand up and protect it. The victory that is the Schedule 4 mining campaign has shown how the green approach works, how Greens make change and how Greens will set the agenda. Last month I told our annual conference that together we would make the John Key government back down on their mining madness, and we have been very proud to lead that campaign. Last August we challenged the claim that the plans to mine were just a stocktake. In October we revealed that the stocktake included Mount Aspiring National Park, among other national parks. In December we dismantled John Key's government, the Cabinet's fallacious economic argument. The minuscule mining royalties are not worth more than the damage to our economy and our environment. By February of this year, we had forced the government to change its agenda and forced them to scale back on their mining madness. And the pressure continued to mount from the public. Tens of thousands of New Zealanders marched through the streets of Auckland to tell John Key and his government that they said no. Thousands of New Zealanders made submissions to the government on their proposals to mine in Schedule 4 land, and nearly 50,000 New Zealanders signed the Green Party petition against mining our most treasured places. And all of those people who signed, who talked, who got out on the streets, thank you to them for all their incredible work. So we must also recognise and thank the iwi and hapu who have fought to protect our whenua and our whānau in the 170 years since Te Tiriti was signed. And too often the struggles of mana whenua to protect their whenua goes unnoticed. It is the marae and the hapu who belong to the land and have been kaitiaki since Mairanō who continue to stand firm to protect these areas from degradation and the decisions of government. The struggle for hapu, of course, is not over, with further plans from John Key's government for deep-sea oil drilling underway and further mining threats in Northland, the West Coast and Southland. But we are successful as a community because we stand alongside and respect each other, and we work together to protect our land and waters. And I want to acknowledge and thank the environmental movement in Aotearoa. The Too Precious to Mine coalition of groups have been leaders too on this campaign against the Prime Minister and his Cabinet decisions. These groups, the Coromandel Watchdog, Environment and Conservation Organisations, ECO, Federated Mountain Clubs, Forest and Bird, Greenpeace, Save Happy Valley Coalition and the World Wildlife Fund for Nature, WWF, are at the front line of New Zealand's environmental safeguards. And without the commitment from the volunteers and their supporters and the staff of these environmental NGOs, New Zealand would not have the protected areas and rich biodiversity that it does. So the Coromandel Watchdog and other environmental groups in the 1990s fought for 15 years before the Schedule 4 protections were put in place in 1997. And so it was Jeanette Fitzsimons who ensured then that the law required public consultation before any land was removed from Schedule 4. Now, Jeanette Fitzsimons helped to give ordinary Kiwis a voice so they could look after their land. Kia ora.
I call the Honourable